How does this change the dynamic of the presidential race?
Well, I'd say God bless him and good luck. He's got $50 billion and not a lot of personality. You could argue even that he's too Manhattan for the outer boroughs. But what his decision shows is deep unease in the Democratic Party. They have a presidential election that should be a walkover victory for them, but there's not a lot of confidence in the standard bearer. And so if Bloomberg can seize that role, as he seized it in New York City when there was also no other credible figure to take over the mayoral race, then that's what his move shows, that Democrats need to find a standard bearer.
All right, so let's talk about the standard bearer role right now, because it doesn't seem as though there's one clear-cut one in the field. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders continue to get headlines. Joe Biden has been moving a little bit lower in some of these polls. How does Michael Bloomberg stack up to those folks from a business and political electability standpoint?
Well, Bloomberg doesn't really have a constituency outside New York, I would argue. Joe Biden has got a very powerful stance because he's got sticky support from African-American voters who are very important Democratic primary voters. Biden also has very strong support for seniors, and those constituencies are not leaving Biden yet. Likewise, Warren has got very strong support among affluent suburbanites, the better educated people. Bernie's support comes from seniors and, from younger people and blue-collar voters. And none of those populations is shifting. None of those populations really seems ready to jump to a new candidate. So Bloomberg obviously can spend some money and make a big splash, but he definitely has to target constituencies rather than the public at large.
So let's talk about those constituencies. I mean, my vote in America, because of our democracy, counts just as much as Michael Bloomberg's vote or Tom Steyer's vote, the other billionaire that's kind of been floating around the Democratic race as well. Who does he have to target? I mean, who is he going after? Is this a situation where he can say, hey, this is not a class warfare situation anymore, and I can still win with that particular tack?
Well, he does. I think he's got to present stability and leadership. That's really what people want after the experience of the Trump administration to date. But he's also got to reach out to the blue-collar voters, working-class Americans, and show that he actually cares about issues that impact them. The reason Trump has done so well is that he's gone to those blue-collar voters who feel rejected by the Republican Party and demonstrated that he actually cares about community development, about jobs, about trade issues that undermine communities. Bloomberg needs to come up with a reason why ordinary working people want him. Less a technocratic leader and more somebody who's going to get involved in making not the global metropolis of New York City work, but parts of middle America that haven't worked for a long time need support and attention.
All right, big steps on his part over the years in terms of gun control and also health as well. So we'll watch that Bloomberg development very closely. I want to change our tilt a little bit more towards what's happening with the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. There's been a lot of noise made about this in the marketplace, but should investors really care about what's happening with the impeachment inquiry? Should they be making investment decisions because of those headlines?
Well, I've been telling people throughout my career that politics matter, big political movements have impact on the stock market. In this case, though, I think investors really have to keep their eyes on the long term and ignore the day-to-day noise. This impeachment story really is not going to be resolved until Election Day next year, and there will be a lot more ups and downs between now and then. What we want to look for, though, is evidence that Congress is really getting something done. And one of the surprising things about the impeachment trial is that USMCA is actually more likely to happen than not. And, that would be a very powerful signal to the economy that we may be able to squeeze another year of growth out of this late cycle expansion.